All right, now that we had a chance to celebrate Seattle Sounders CONCACAF Champions League title, we had a day to just celebrate and cheer and just to relish the moment. Now is what's next. What is next for the Seattle Sounders, despite them returning back to MLS play? On a global standpoint, on the global stage, what is next for the Sounders? What's next for the Sounders will be FIFA Club World Cup. And at the moment, we don't know when that is going to take place because usually FIFA World Cup takes place in December of the World Cup year, the World Cup season. But because this particular World Cup, 2022 edition World Cup, which will be played in UAE, that's also taking place in December. It won't be taking place its usual time in the summer because of the weather. The weather in that region, it gets too hot and it's not conducive to play any sport in the summertime in that region. So because of that, the regular World Cup competition is going to be taking place in November and December. As a result of that, Club World Cup won't be taking place around that time. Now, there's no official word yet on when Club World Cup will take place, but I believe it'll be sometime in 2023, either in January, February, or March. But there's no official word on that yet. However, Club World Cup is basically competition between all the continental champions. The Asian Champions League, the African Champions League, the CONCACAF Champions League, South America, Europe, and the Oceania. Now, the Oceania Champions League is basically the Pacific Island countries, New Zealand, Fiji, those type of nations. They make up the Oceania Champions League. And basically, here's how it works. By the way, I got my information from 442.com. 442.com, the link is in the description box. So basically, this is, if you're a person like me and you never watched the Club World Cup before, I'm going to try my best to break it down to you based on the information that I read from 442.com. So it's 7 teams. You got the 6 nation teams, and then you have one host nation. One club from the host nation. And it'll basically be the club champion from the host nation league. And the host nation league as in the highest ranked host nation league. So, for example, if America was hosting the World Cup in 2022, the MLS Cup champion from the previous season will have an automatic bid to play in the Club World Cup. So the MLS champion would be playing in the first round. So for this discussion, I'm going to hypothetically say that America is hosting the 2022 World Cup just for some clarity. So in the first round is a playoff game between the Oceania champion and the host nation league champion. So if America was the host league champion, it'll be the MLS champion, not the USL champion, but it's the highest ranked league in the country. So America is MLS. So it'll be NYCFC versus, I'll say, Auckland City. Auckland City is a club based in New Zealand. So Auckland City versus NYCFC. The winner moves on to the second round of the Club FIFA World Cup tourney, and they'll join the Asian champion, the North America champion, and the African champion in the second round. So who plays who? I don't know. But for this discussion, I'll say NYCFC will play against the Asia champion. and I'll say Western Sydney. Western Sydney is based in Australia. And first I was thinking that Australia was part of the Oceania Champions League, but Australia is part of the Asia Champions League. So we'll say Western Sydney. Also, Western Sydney is historically they're the only Australian team to ever win an Asian Champions League. So second round will be Western Sydney versus NYCFC. And then here comes the CONCACAF champions will be Seattle Sounders versus Al-Ahly. I'll say they're going against the African champion. So Al-Ahly of Cairo, Egypt is historically the best club African team in that continent. So it'll be NYCFC versus Western Sydney and Seattle versus the African Champion League team, which is Al-Ahly of Cairo, Egypt. The two winners in the second round will move on to the semifinals. And that's where they'll meet the UEFA champions, which is the European champions, and the South American champions. And once again, hypothetically speaking, I'll say the CONCACAF champion will go against the European champion. So I'll say Seattle versus Real Madrid. And NYCFC versus the South American champion. I'll say NYCFC versus Independiente of Argentina. That's the South American champion club that has the most champions, the most championship titles in that continent. So based on titles, historically, Independiente is the best South American club team. So we'll say NYCFC versus Independiente and Seattle Sounders versus Real Madrid. The winners of the semifinals move on to the finals, and that's when the two teams will go against each other for the Club World Cup title, the Club World Cup crown. And then there's also, now the losers in the round also go against each other. There's a battle for fifth place. The two losers in the second round games will go against each other for the fifth place. And the two losers in the semifinals, from the semifinals, will go against each other to determine who will be third and fourth place. So that is how the Club World Cup works. Now, the host country is not America. I was just using America in 2022, hypothetically speaking. The host country is UAE. But I really don't know how this is going to work, because the only reason why they moved the big World Cup to November and December is because of the weather. It gets too hot for competition to take place in that country or in that region during the summer months, during June and July. So the Club World Cup is most likely, I strongly believe it's going to take place in 2023, maybe February or March of 2023, but there's no official word on that yet. But it's going to be very interesting to see how the Sounders compete. And this is also why it was very important for the MLS to win a CONCACAF Champions League this year, and moving forward, every year is going to be important. Because you have the opportunity to go against the top dogs of the world. The top dogs of traditional football in this world are Europe and South America. There has never been a country outside of those two continents to win a World Cup. Every World Cup champion every World Cup champion since the competition began, every World Cup champion has either been a European country or a South American country. Those two countries are the best of the best. So for an MLS club team to compete on the global stage against a Real Madrid or Liverpool or Independiente is huge. And it's good. It's good for competition, and it helps improve the quality of the sport. And here, check this out here. Club World Cup. Because America is hosting the World Cup in 2026, MLS will have an opportunity to put 2 teams in the Club World Cup. You have your MLS champion that receives an automatic bid into the Club World Cup because America is the host country. And then you have a CONCACAF Champions League team in that Club World Cup. So let's say an MLS team wins a CONCACAF Champions League tourney again in 2026. You will have 2 MLS teams in that Club World Cup. Listen, if you've always been an American soccer fan since the 90s, this is the era that you've been dreaming about. This is the era that you have been hoping for. This is the time. But I'm not going to talk too much about 2026 in this brief segment right here. It's going to be interesting to see how Seattle competes. I hope Seattle makes it to the round where they face the European or the South American team. I would really love to see how well Seattle will play against Real Madrid. Because Real Madrid, I believe they have the most champions, the most championship titles. They have the most UEFA champion titles. So I would love to see how Seattle plays against Real Madrid. Anyhow, we don't know when the 2022 Club World Cup will take place. It's most likely going to be in 2023. So until then, we'll just be searching on Twitter, just keeping our eyes open, our ears open, just to see when it's actually going to take place. And when an official date is set, I'm definitely going to report on it.